Welcome back to the Silent Path. In our previous journey, we learned to let go of material possessions and the past. But today, we'll face even harder burdens to shed: stubbornness and emotional scars. Join me through the next 3 stories to understand that sometimes letting go isn't about losing everything, but about freeing your hands to embrace something greater. In the heart of a vibrant forest stood a grand old oak. When autumn arrived, all the other trees began to shed their leaves, preparing for the winter rest. But the old oak clung to its brown, withered leaves. "These leaves are my history," it thought. "Without them, I will be naked and cold." The wind blew harder, whispering, "Let them go so you can grow again." But the oak refused. Because it kept its old leaves, the heavy winter snow piled up on the branches instead of falling through. One night, under the immense weight, its strongest branch snapped. Only then did the oak realize, by holding on to what was already dead, it had broken what was still alive. It finally let the leaves fall. Spring came, and because the old leaves were gone, beautiful new buds had the space to bloom. The oak learned that letting go of the old is the only way to invite the new. The old oak learned that clinging to the dead past only breaks the living present. But sometimes we aren't just clinging to memories, we are clinging to our own desires for more, even when they threaten to pull us under. Let's travel from the silent forest to the edge of a restless sea, where a fisherman is about to discover the true cost of a heavy catch. A fisherman once caught a net so full of fish that he could barely pull it onto a small boat. He was ecstatic, imagining the fortune he would make. But as he struggled, the boat began to take on water. It was sinking under the weight of his own success. His friends shouted from the shore, "Cut the net, you're going to drown!" But the fisherman's greed was louder. He fought until his arms burned and the water reached his waist. In a split second of clarity, he looked at the vast open ocean and realized his life was worth more than a single catch. He drew his knife and sliced the net. The boat rose instantly. He returned to the shore with nothing but his life. That night, he felt a strange sense of wealth. He understood that sometimes the greatest win is knowing when to lose what you cannot carry. Cutting the net felt like a loss, yet it was the only way to stay afloat. It's a reminder that survival often requires letting go of what we once thought was our greatest prize. But what happens when our burden isn't a physical net, but an invisible obsession with perfection? Let's step into the quiet workshop of a sculptor who spent a lifetime trying to fix a stone, only to realize that the light was waiting in the cracks. There was a sculptor who wanted to create a mirror out of stone, so perfect that it could show the truth of a person's soul. He spent years polishing a single slab of granite. He was so focused on the perfection of the surface that he became angry at every tiny scratch or speck of dust. He lived in constant frustration, shouting at the wind and the birds for ruining his work. One day, an old monk passed by and looked at the sculptor's exhausted face. The monk picked up a hammer and lightly tapped the stone, causing a small crack. The sculptor screamed in pain, but as he looked closer, he saw the sunlight reflecting through the crack, creating a beautiful rainbow on his workshop floor. The monk smiled. "You were so busy trying to make the stone perfect that you forgot to let the light in." The sculptor finally let go of his obsession with perfection. He realized that it is through our cracks and our imperfections that the most beautiful light can shine. These 3 stories remind us that an oak tree needs to shed its leaves to be reborn, a fisherman needs to cut his nets to survive, and a carpenter needs to accept cracks to see the light. What are you holding on to that is wearying your soul? Leave your story in the comments and don't forget to share this video if it helps you feel better. I am your narrator at The Silent Path. Have a peaceful day. See you on the next journey.